Hello, Trailblazers. This is Mrs. Bryant, and I'm going to be telling you about some of the logistics for our Rally for Kindness. So listen up. A lot of the information is the exact same as when we flipped this out in the fall, but I'm just going to restate it all. I'm going to be reading off of kind of a to-do list, so just make sure that you listen to this either today, this weekend, or Monday, and make sure you ask any questions you have to anyone on the admin team. Okay, guys, so I'm piecemealing together a lot of information, so you'll probably have a good laugh watching this video. So first off, I've had some people ask for clarifications on which kindness shirt is actually this year's kindness shirt. And so it is this one right here. And the way that you know this one's the new one is on the back is the little Trailblazer. When we had these shirts like 3 or 4 years ago, they did not put the Trailblazer on the back. The ones this year have the Trailblazer on the back. So that is the shirt you need to wear. Permission slips. We sent an email out yesterday. We had, in the fall, everybody's permission slip back. And I would say like 99.5% of our kids were going. So we know that back then the parents wanted them to go, so chances are they want them to go now. Please make sure that you have reached out via dojo and a phone call. If you have not heard back, you need to let us know so we can assist with that piece. But I am asking that you reach out with dojo and a phone call before we get involved. If you would get verbal permission on the phone, you just need to write down on a piece of paper who you spoke to, the time you spoke to them, and what phone number you reached them at so that you have that information for documentation. But like I said, 99.5% of the school was going, so we should have that same amount going this time, unless people have appointments, and you probably already know that if they do. So as I continue to kind of go down our checklist, those permission forms need to be brought with you because parents wrote emergency contact numbers on them. So please bring them as well as your go bags. They are the drawstring bags. Double check if you need more Band-Aids or something. Melissa has those up at her office for you. Miss Schuler sent out the bus lineup. So everyone just hold 1 second and I'm going to put that up on the screen. Okay, guys, so this is the bus lineup. It was shared with you as a document by Miss Schuler. What we're going to do is we're going to put this bus lineup in your mailboxes so that you have a copy and know what bus you're supposed to be in. But what is going to be important about this is that we are going to load these buses from the oldest grade levels to the youngest grade levels. And the other important piece of information is students need to go to the bathroom prior to getting on the bus. Okay, the piecemealed montage continues. So, like I said, you're going to get a hard copy of that bus lineup, so you will have that for your reference. Back to a quick little tidbit, once again, about the t-shirts. What I'm asking is that on Monday after school, and I know some of you got extended learning, but Monday after school, go ahead and lay out your class's t-shirts on their desks. That way, you can visually confirm that every kid in your homeroom has a shirt. If by chance something happens and you forgot somebody or somebody like tries it on, and even though we've already double checked, you know, they need a different size, we are going to have the conference room kind of set up as like the command center where we have extra shirts. We have plenty of extras, but we don't need to pass out excessive extras. So I think if everyone's proactive on Monday and puts them out, that helps us just be prepared for that piece. The next thing that I am going to talk about real quickly and just touch on is kind of where the buses are going to be once we park there. So I'm going to pull up a picture of where we're going to park as a school bus-wise, and then where we will be seated on the track. Okay, guys, so Jewett's buses are denoted by that red rectangle that says JES. Heather is actually going to be kind of like our director. She's going to have a team of people with her, but that's a familiar face. She'll probably be wearing a pink hat along with a kindness shirt. but we are going to park right across from like kind of where the ticket booth is and that big gate that staff can walk through for football games. And then we are going to go up the left side of the bleachers, like beside them, and then back and around and kind of go not through the Lion Tunnel, but kind of like back behind it to get to that part of the track that we sat at actually the last time we did one of these rallies. And so the next image I'm going to show you is going to be the rows of the track. So you can see here the rows of the track. The lanes are numbered like so, 1 through 8. And we're sitting kind of like youngest to oldest as far as like front to back. But I want to draw your attention to the fact that lane 4 and lane 8 are open. You also see that statement up at the top, six chairs will be placed at the start, middle, and end of each school seating area. There will be an additional seating provided in lane 8. This would be for any staff that have a hard time like sitting with their class, crisscross applesauce. So those seats will be there. Lane 4 is going to be extremely important. The reason being that students that are going to be involved in the event are going to be staged in this lane, and Mrs. Kearney and Mrs. Birchall are going to kind of oversee that. So just to give you all a point of reference, kids that would be sitting in this lane are going to be kids that are participating in the dance-off, the Pledge of Allegiance, the hula hoop contest, the obstacle relay, and then our 2 students that helped with the cleat project. So all of those students you have been notified of via email, but I will ask Ms. Kearney to share again, will be directed and kind of collected and staged in lane 4 so that they are ready and accessible to participate in the portions of the pep rally that they are in. Okay, up to talk to you next, and we're getting towards the end of the list, so don't worry. Our school nurse, there is going to be a nurse's tent, but due to some of our students' medical needs, Nurse Adams is going to be hanging around where we are seated in the track, so just know that she will be available. So the final kind of logistics. Breakfast on that day will be served as usual. We will start loading the buses at 8:40. The buses are going to need to be pulling out of Jewett Elementary School no later than 9 o'clock. We will be calling you by grade level, going oldest to youngest, starting at 8:40. So the moment you have kids finishing breakfast, you need to start having them use the bathroom. If you have a bathroom in your class, we ask that you have kids use that bathroom because the rest of the building is going to be trying to, get it in before we start going. The one exception to this leave time is our students with autism that are going to be coming. Those special transportation buses will not be leaving until 9:15, just to give everybody a little bit more time to get organized and squared away and for us to get the masses out. That will also help with, those students not having to necessarily wait as long for the pep rally to get started. Then talking about dismissal from the pep rally, they're going to call groups to leave. Autism, you are going to be a part of group 1. So when they call group 1, you and your students will be able to head towards the special transportation and get back to school. Everybody else in Jewett, PK through 5, is going to be in group 3. So our students will be hanging out, listening to some of the music as other people dismiss, but JES is in dismissal group 3. So the last piece that I want to talk to you guys about, because you did a fabulous job pre-ordering, is that we are going to do our best to get back here within the time schedule, but we're looking at having lunch go anywhere from like 12 to 12:45. It's just going to be a fluid day where we're all going to be extremely spirited and happy and very excited, and we're going to go with the flow. So just know we're expecting lunch to kind of go from 12 to 12:45 depending upon when we arrive. It'll be old school. There'll be a crate with your name and your lunch orders in it. And the cafeteria will obviously have some extras if kids said they were going to bring theirs and forget to do so. So the last big thing I have to talk to you guys about is our students who aren't going, and then safety and evacuation. Okay, guys, so I said 2 more things. So if you have kids who aren't going, which remember was a very small number, but if you have kids that aren't going, if you could, on the day of, they will go to Mr. Snyder. He has volunteered to stay behind. If you can make sure that they make it down to his steam room, that is where those students who cannot attend are going to be. The district did work really hard to make sure that Mr. Snyder's going to have the option to stream, so those kids can still see and be a part of the pep rally that way. But that is where our students who aren't going, like maybe their parent needs to pick them up early and so they need them at school, or maybe their parent's not comfortable letting them go to something where there's that many people, those would be the type of circumstances and situations where those kids will be sent to Mr. Snyder. So last but not least, I'm going to talk about the fire evacuation plans. Now, before I put up the pictures, I want to explain that everybody is going to get the bus lineup as well as the fire evacuation plans. And the reason for this is part of the fire marshal allowing us all to convene in this way is that everybody needs to know how to safely vacate the premises if necessary. So it's going to be important that you have looked over these documents so that, let's say the fire marshal comes up to you and is like, hey, if all of a sudden we needed to evacuate your kids, like what gate would you go through? You're going to have that in writing as well as a visual and just some guiding principles. So I'm going to put those up here and talk about how we're going to evacuate if we needed to evacuate. And like I said, you're also going to get a hard copy of this. So let's check it out. First up, the evacuation route. So you can see that if we needed to evacuate, we would stand our students up and we would go out that same fence entrance that we walked through, and we would actually go out on the grass, though. We wouldn't go back by the bleachers like we did when we came in. We would go out. There's a second gate there. We would go out there. There's like a little bit of a grass and gravel path, and we would head out back to where our buses are. So that gate that is behind where the inflatable tower lion is typically at a football game, that gate back there is where JES would evacuate if necessary. This right here is the hard copy of the fire evacuation plan. You can see that it says right there that you would be notified. Admin around you would be able to tell you through the radio you need to go. The SRO would also be there. But it says JES will pass through the gate on the east end of the stadium, and there's that inflatable lion as a reference, and return to the buses. So that's a hard copy explanation of what we would do. This is the last hard copy item that you would get. It is just a general list of staff responsibilities for crowd management. It's written in a very, I'm going to call it like a politically correct way. Talks about attendees and how we would keep them safe. And so it just kind of outlines what we would need to do to make sure that we were responsibly managing our crowd of sweet children. But this will also, like I said, be a part of the hard copy packet you get, which once again will include the bus lineup. It will include the map, the evacuation map, our evacuation plan, and the staff responsibilities for crowd management. Okay, guys, and those are the reminders I have for you for the pep rally. If you think of any additional questions, please, please, please do not hesitate to reach out to the admin team. No question is a silly question, and I'd really like everyone to kind of proactively try to watch this prior to Tuesday morning so that we are well-versed in what we need to do. The division has gone above and beyond to make sure that there's going to be an exceptional amount of security, so I am excited that we are going to get to be a part of this event, and I hope you guys have a great day.